go. Checker joke. Because you do jumps and become a king. Jump is king. I think that might have been what I said yesterday, but that's honestly, that's a good one. It speaks to the other things we do. Jump is king. Jump king. Back with some jumping to land on down. And then the king of jumping is the category. Not. Wow, I said the thing, I started typing what I said. Yu-Gi-Oh! Jump King would be very strange. Alright, we are ready to rock. At some point, I do think it would be fun. I've seen that there's, like, little integrations for Twitch where, like, people show up as crows in the map. Jump King in wait, BIY. Oh, Bob is you. Haha. That would be impressive. Ooh, we're off to a great start there. Okay, that wasn't bad. I mean, I believe we talked about Baba being Turing complete, right? So, if it's Turing complete, it could be made. Alright, have some good sleep, Carsey. It's important. Go sleep, wake up, do cool things. Whoop. Oh dear. Oh. That was a bad fall. But it's okay, it's helping us get in our reps with low stakes. Don't do cool things? Well, sleep more. Helps you do. Oh, that's a mood though. But then you find cool projects to go along with the spying on your friends, right? Like rewriting the entire 95 Theses of Martin Luther for some weird joke. Yeah. This is fair. As I do often lurk on my, a couple of the like Discord and Slacks with my friends, seeing, yep. Whoop. Different like that. Hey. Whoop. Okay. We're getting kind of good at this, Chunk, I say. So time to practice this one. I'm different. You go to school. Aha. Too little. Also too little. Damn. Okay, we had been having some good luck there. Ah, just hang out there sometimes. Whoop. Damn. So I definitely had friends visit from off campus at college. I've done that before. It's actually, I kind of recommend it. It's a lot better when you are at a school that has like large class sizes, because then you do legitimately blend in. My dad actually did that at his university and would mostly just sit in to take tests for subjects that he had not done anything with before. Because it was very amusing to him to often get better scores than some of the folks who were actually taking the class. I was not quite that mean, but I sat in on like a philosophy class that I was not a part of and helped people edit their essays and seemed to be more acquainted with some of the philosophers than the people who had just been doing the readings, which was kind of funny. I hope that they managed to do more of the class readings afterwards. Yeah. Exactly. That's... Yep. That's... Like, personally, I would probably not do that. I am a little skittish. I would probably not sit in on a class that, for a school that I was not part of, but so long as I'm part of the school, I feel totally fine, because, like, I'm still supposed to be in the general area. Yes, exactly. It's like knowing the guard schedules. Okay, yeah. I think that increases the legitimacy of being there. It's always yes, exactly. But yeah, I mean, like, legitimately, if there are things where it doesn't hurt to just sit in, I say sit in. Yep. Ah, too far. Whoops. There we go. That also helps. Ah, damn. That is something I kind of miss. I really enjoyed at college being able to just like find a lecture series that was going on that was just there for people to listen to. Like, hey, today I'm going to get to hear a little bit about this particular subgenre of archaeology, which I miss that. No fence around the school, so you can just walk in. Yeah. Waha! Oh, damn. Should have backed up a bit. Games that are based entirely on difficult control schema are very interesting. A party. Dun dun dun. Wow. Ouch. Sigh. Yes. Well, that is something. It's genuinely amazing how often just being confident will get you into places. I'm not a very confident person, so it hasn't worked a great deal for me, but the times where I have done it, it's been impressive. Um, I really enjoy looking at pen testers, so penetration testing, which is often done for software, but can also be done for physical security. And it is incredible the number of stories that you'll hear from them of just walking in somewhere. Still famous at the school? Nice. Um, but I mean, the number of times you can walk into a place with just a clipboard and say, "Oh, I'm here to inspect the elevators." It's easier than one might think. Um, there we go. I think one of my favorite stories was a pen tester who was at a golf course and basically some noticed that an employee had left the keys in a golf cart and just started driving around with all of the grounds keys. Well, I don't know if I've seen them. I don't think so. Oh wait, it's you. That was fun. At my high school, I was the first graduating class, or yes, so senior in the first graduating class. Right. They won't know it's you. Um, but that's part of the joy of it, is that it is you and they don't know. Mm. Um, but I basically the senior prank was just kind of sad. So what I ended up doing was cut out pieces of paper with all of the names of the graduating seniors on them, and started just distributing them and telling people to tuck them around. I haven't been back to that school. I should try, and see if they're still finding pieces of paper with all of our names on them. Um, but I was one of the valedictorians, and I went to the front office after the graduation ceremony and basically was able to sweet talk my way in by being a valedictorian to go back and put those index cards in the mailbox of every teacher there, which was quite fun. Oh, first time I've made it up here. Yes. Oh, okay. I don't like that it. I mean, it doesn't actually affect our jump at all, but I don't like that it goes up to the next area mid jump. Makes it harder to see what you did well and what you did wrong. But hey, that's good to have myths of you still hanging around for being that person. It's a fun legacy to have. Hmm. So not necessarily a, oh, I'm just gonna do this for fun this afternoon type thing. A little more planning. Oof. Yeah. It's always nicer to drive a route that you're actually familiar with. Oop a doop. Haha. There we go. Okay. Especially, yep. Makes sense. Ah. Ouch. Oh. Those are always the worst when you overshoot and you know it's no one's fault but your own. But you don't think your parents would just accept, oh, I'm going back to my old school to have some fun. Ah, darn. I'm off to cause mischief. I think it is a very good excuse. Why you should continue? Yeah. Did you forget about the... Oh, did you forget about the babe at the top? Yes, because I'm doing it for my own satisfaction. Haha. Whoops. Back up. Huzzah. Yeah, because that's not too big of a drive. Hour and 30 is, yeah, not insignificant. Yeah. It's like, currently, to see some of my friends, I need to go for like 4 or 5 hours, which is kind of a big ask, but... So for me, I'm like, hour and a half, that sounds great, but... It's still, that is not nothing. That is still a day trip. Whoop. Okay, there we go. Nice. Gotta compliment yourself for the little wins. Damn. 2 hours? Yeah, that is not nothing. Because that's 4 hours round trip. By bicycle? Okay. Oof. Honestly, I've got a bike kicking around. I never learned how to ride a bike. I should probably practice that. But I really enjoy walking. Yeah. You can understand getting your parents to drive you places for mischief might be. Oh, because of all the stops and exchanges, I'll bet. Yeah. I mean, hey, I have gone for a, like, 20-mile walk before. Literally walked to the next town over. So, it's doable. Your legs get very sore afterwards. But it's a fun experience. Whoop. It was really fun because, where I was walking, it was a valley, and I had walked super far, I'd walked a very far way, up the other side of the valley before I went for this walk, which was up to like a little monastery. It was just very peaceful, has some very lovely walking grounds, and I got to look back over to where I had walked miles away, and watch as the rain swept in, which, I don't know, that had me feeling very connected to the world around me. Yeah. If you've got the bike and you're trying to get there quickly, might as well bike rather than walk. Yee yee! Get some good rest. Ah! Bump. Oh, I see. I see how it works. Gotta round up to the nearest hour, right? Bump, 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 bump. Boop. Oh, oh, oh. would be. Just show up. I do advocate, while I advocate for good sleep and whatnot, I also think the world needs more whimsy. Yeah, just be there. I think there's a lot of times where we get very used to the world being the way the world is, and we need to do more things to remind ourselves that there's a lot of strange stuff. I love one of my friends was having some questions about their gender identity, and I went, how about I take away those questions? Let's make a Fey bargain. I'll buy your gender identity, this lovely intangible, for a piece of garlic bread. And you know what? It took a while to actually get there, because then the pandemic happened, but they have received the garlic bread, and I now have the intangible, their gender identity. And that's fun. It was something that made the world a slightly wonkier place. We had a bit of fake mustard that I had been given as a Christmas present, which got passed around. I don't know who's currently in possession of it, but the pinnacle of it, in my opinion, was still opening my locker one day in junior high to the mustard being in my locker because someone had gone to the office, and because they had some family that worked at the school, were able to get access to my locker, which I would find concerning for most things, but for the sake of putting the fake mustard in there, big props. Have more whimsy in the world. Do fun things. There was a little art installation of some rocks at my school, and they went away, but then for Halloween, I recreated it with very small rocks and leaves that I collected around from campus, hoping that people would go, oh yes, the fairies have recreated their own tiny version. At a principal in elementary school who would drop pennies places so that people would have something to pick up. I started doing that for a little while, but pennies are loud. It's hard to do it quietly. I could see, as soon as I started that jump, I knew that was going to go wrong, but I couldn't stop holding. Waha! Bump. Okay, I'm obviously feeling a lot more confident on that. Oh, a little too short. So that one, my alignment sucks. Oh, no. The splat is very satisfying. Definitely did that just to demonstrate, and not because I messed it up. But yeah, I don't know. We've got a lot of things to consume. I mean, hello, you're currently consuming me, consuming media. It's a little Ouroboros-like, but I think for all of the stuff that we've got, it can be very easy to consume. We've always got more, right? Yes, consuming media. But, I don't know, I think it can be very easy to forget that there's still a lot of just cool things out in the world around us, and I am very much in favor of people doing things that remind us that the world is still neat and cool, and not just through a screen. But it's even cooler when people are able to use screens to remind us that it's neat and cool. Bonk. I mean, we live in an age where we have access to most of the world's. The only thing I can focus on is the X. Oh, yeah, right next to the chat. I know, I've looked at that. I've tried to revert the version. It's apparently something that's been an issue for a while, and there's no longer an old version you can download that doesn't have it. But I'd rather have the chat on screen, and I haven't been able to do... I was trying to mess around with, like, making it transparent in CSS, and I was not having a good time with it, so... That's currently what we've got. I've tried doing, like, a transparent mask, but the X is where chat can go over that, so... It is what it is for now. I am aware. You can't Photoshop it out because the text, because it's on a layer, basically it would be cutting out the it in that sentence. So that's, yeah, I've looked at it, but it doesn't seem to have bothered people overall too much. But if I put a layer above it, it's still going to block that out. Anything that's going to block the X is going to block... Oh, remove half the chat? Okay, yeah. No. I will live with the X instead. We'll become friends. Oh! And we... Yes, okay, we can move there. Why did I do that rather than just jump up and look at where I needed to go? That was very, very silly. From the Twitch website? Well, that is one of the things I was looking at, and I might get around to that, but getting web things to be transparent is more of a headache than you might think. Because then you're having to deal with RGBA values, and Windows doesn't like to have a website that is just transparent. Let Aniv take over? I don't know Aniv. Oh. Oh. There we go. Oh, an AI Twitch chatter? Oh dear. That seems concerning. Ah, just a little too long. Huzzah! Neurosama is an AI VTuber that's also being trained on Twitch chat, right? Oh, that's kind of interesting. Ho 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 ho! Actual Twitch chat on screen, just put fake Twitch chat. Dun dun dun. But I like talking to people. I like talking to real people. Okay. So we need to ricochet? How are we supposed to do that? Or are we just... How does that work? You can talk to real Twitch chat, but on screen it's... I gotcha. Oh, do we have to... I got it. I was thinking there was more space. Yep, no one else gets to see it on screen. Oh no, it's also fun to have the record of things for the VOD. So if I can go back and see, oh right, they were talking about doing this thing. Okay, that is indeed a platform. Ouch. Okay. Okay. Oh, I thought I was going to hit my head there. This is nerve-wracking all of a sudden. Oh. Okay. So it's not a checkpoint, but it's making it harder for us to fall back down. Cool. Okay. Oh. Okay. Alright. Good night, Carsey. Thanks for hanging out. It's always fun. But yay, we made it to a new area. That's cool. we'll try and get, like, to the next screen, but I should also probably sign off sooner rather than later, because it is a little over the 5 hours I intend to go for, and I didn't eat breakfast. That's going to be my biggest challenge with this new schedule, is actually remembering to eat in the mornings. And not jump like that. Oh, ad blocker stopped working? On Twitch or YouTube? I know there was a thing with YouTube where they were intentionally slowing down folks using ad blockers. And it was also hitting the paid version of YouTube, which is funny. Yep. It's an arms race. Oh my god. I don't know. I'm generally okay to watch ads and do that, but I also I'm not very often, like, actively consuming it. Yep, surely someone will figure something out. I think the only place where I've been like, the ads is Crunchyroll doing free stuff on there, because, oh boy, there's a lot of ads. And my big problem, honestly, was that it often caused this thing to crash, and then you had to go rewatch ads. Hate ads. Yeah. Oh no. Sometimes they're clever, most of the time they're annoying, and I often use them as a way to remind myself to stand up, grab some water. So, I don't watch the ads most of the time, but I don't mind them. Alright, night, Carsey. There was one, I can't find it, but it was like late at night, I was in a sort of weird fugue state, and then I just heard quietly from my Chromebook, which was just playing some YouTube videos as background noise, Daisy, 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 Daisy. And it was, I don't even remember what it was an ad for, but it was just really terrifying hearing it repeated in a monotone by, like, 4 gals. Ugh. For water stand up, that's a good thing. I mean, obviously, actually, that's something I should probably try and integrate, because I have been, you know, sitting for 5 hours and not drinking water and such, talking the entire time. I should think about that. Whoop. Oh, damn. But yeah, I don't know. I don't mind them terribly, and if I'm not watching them, I'm doing other stuff at the same time, and it helps someone that's doing cool stuff get paid a bit, awesome. And yes, it helps the platform, but I generally appreciate the platforms I'm watching stuff on, even if sometimes they're quite awful about some of the stuff they do. And it's money that's being paid by the large corporations trying to sell me stuff, so it's money out of their pocket, and I know it's not getting them conversions from me, so heck yeah. An act of corporate rebellion. Womp. But I don't know, the fact that the internet is a free thing with ads is a very... I'm curious how the history textbooks are going to handle the decision to try and keep it free, but obviously people making stuff for it want to be paid, so they find ways of doing that. So essentially we're trading ads and, you know, tracking cookies. We're trading our information and our attention span for access to this thing. And I will be very curious to see how that decision, even though it's not a decision any of us individually made, but we've all sort of accepted, I'm curious how that's going to get treated in the history books. Because I'm also very curious where it's going to go in the future. Are we going to have augmented reality that sometimes think you would be better off without the internet? Yeah, and, you know, the internet is a tool, and it's one that has a lot of really cool things and a lot of really bad things. And trying to find a good balance is a tough thing. I mean, the fact that I'm able to speak with someone who's, you know, native to Czechia while I'm doing my thing, you know, that I've got friends who are on the other side of the world, and we can talk in real time. I mean, yeah, there's phones and whatnot for that, but there's some of the asymmetrical communication. Even then, there's text. Oh no, I do the knowledge aspect of it, but there's so much clutter. What would my life be like without the internet, but still with other modern conveniences? Had no internet period, did it like 3 months. I never did no internet. I did do. We had a project in one of my media classes to do a media fast where we weren't allowed, not even like reading books, and that was an interesting experience. But I think very different from truly no internet. Okay, ouch. There we go. I have gone like no social interaction before for a little while to just sort of focus on myself, but also a very different thing. You learn a lot from taking away some of the things in your life, and hopefully it's good experiences. Yes, it is. Well, I mean, the thing is, it's painfully easy to be bored, but it's hard to it's hard to suffer the boredom long enough before you just grab something, right? We've got so much around us that it's very easy to fill the boredom, even though it's not necessarily hard to be bored. But no, boredom is definitely a thing to cultivate. But I know for me, I got a lot worse at cultivating boredom when I started having a lot of issues with like depression and anxiety. Um, because then boredom often, rather than turning into a, oh, let's go do something positive, turned into a focusing on the negative. So fill it in with noise. But now that I'm starting to get back to a better place, I'm trying to find more times to just sit around. That's part of why I'm like, oh, let's do the longer stream format, less structured, so that I go, you know what? Maybe I'm bored with this game. Let's find something else to do. Cultivate some flexibility, cultivate some boredom, and have fun. Whoop, whoop. But no, I mean, like, I pretty frequently have, if not a stream, I usually have some YouTube VODs going in the background, oftentimes loading ready run doing magic stuff, because that's just kind of a comfort zone for me. And I kind of use that as a way of filling in for social interaction when I can't get it, to just have some nice white noise and feel like I'm around people. And there are good things to come from that, and some bad things to come from that. Whoop. Haha. Ah, darn. Do, 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 do. I have been trying to move over to having more music in the background as a way of doing that, because I think it's a little... I have a problem with acting so different while around people. Okay. Sort of, you've got the you that's you when you're alone, and then the you that you put around people, or is it that you adapt differently to different people? Because I will say, I am a very different person around certain folks. You adapt, you think? And I think that's totally legitimate. I don't know if that's a problem, but different ways of experiencing it. So, I do not know all the ways in which you mean, so I will not say, oh, that's not a problem. But, I mean, there's a concept in personality psych where there's a lot of different ways to try and divide aspects of human experience. But one of the ways that has been attempted is the concept of high or low self monitors, which are basically people who are or are not very conscious of how they are presenting themselves to others. And there's not anything psychologically problematic with being a high self monitor, someone who tends to adapt a lot to the things around them. In fact, it's often advantageous in a lot of situations. But I mean, being a low self monitor also has its advantages. Everything's kind of has its pros and cons. Surprise, surprise. Little bit of good, little bit of bad. But I mean, like, I've got some friends where I'm super high energy and I'm like, let's go out and paint the town red. I've got some friends that I'm around, I'm like, let's stay inside and watch some anime. Or just chill out. Oh, ouch. And those are both fine. As long as you can accept both of those as parts of you, as long as there's still an integrated self-identity, I think that's fine. But if it feels like you're putting on a mask, then I think that's where you're getting into more difficulties. Womp. That's I've the concept of being true to yourself, I think is a good thing. But also putting on a mask when you're alone, I get you. That's always a rough experience. And like, I am not a psychologist, I am not a therapist, but I can say, as an internet stranger, I do relate on some level to not feeling like myself. Even when I'm alone sometimes. It's been a very long, hard fight for me to get to where I'm at, where I'm feeling a bit more like myself, but it's tough. So yeah, I mean, that might be something to talk to some folks about, try and dig in a little bit. That helped me. But it's also a tough thing. You do what you need to do. Aw. Yeah, no. The whole concept of, be true to yourself, I think is a good one for helping people remember that, they don't need you don't need to make yourself something different from what you are for the sake of other people. But I think there's a lot of times where we get too caught up in the idea that there must be the self, when I think it's very reasonable to have multiple the selves. Yeah, it's not necessarily a bad thing to put on a mask. Okay. And I mean, there's a lot of ways to take that, because there's a lot of ways to mean putting on a mask. But there are times when sometimes you need to be something that you don't feel you are to get something accomplished that you want to do. When I've given presentations to large audiences, I'm not comfortable with that, but I put on the mask of someone who is comfortable doing that, and I get to be very charismatic and charming, and yes, I know what I'm talking about, and it works, and it helped things out, and people thought it was cool. Even if I don't necessarily integrate that into my self-identity, I've got part of my identity that knows I can wear that as a mask effectively. I do want to get to the point where I don't have to view that as putting on a mask of charisma. I would like to just be naturally charming and confident, but we get there. As I've often said with Undertale and whatnot, it's all little bits of progress. With Jump King, we've gotten a little further each time. We're building skill sets, we're getting closer to our goals. There's plenty of backsliding. Whoop. Haha. Something I really liked that I'm trying to make better use of. CGP Grey. CGP Grey, there we go, not actually enunciating. Lovely YouTuber. Goal selection. Yes, that's actually what I was about to get to. Because I think there's a lot of times, like, I have been in enough engineering contexts that we've come across things like SMART goals, right? Trying to figure out how to get a team to work together with specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-oriented goals. That's it. But I really love CGP Ray has a lovely little video about, rather than trying to come up with a specific articulable goal, sometimes it's better to come up with a theme that's your goal. Because sometimes humans are very bad at looking at things as a whole and making that work. We like to parse things down into bite-sized chunks. That's how we problem solve, generally speaking. So coming up with a theme that helps influence all of those little decisions, like he talks about, maybe you have a year of reading, so when you're going, I need something to do, I'm a little bored, rather than picking up your smartphone, or maybe your smartphone has a book, but you pick up, rather than something that's going to just be a time filler, rather than picking up Twitch, you pick up a book and you read a bit. And just sort of trying to build in a mechanism to encourage those little decisions to go in a particular way. Which, it's, I think, a very interesting take on goal setting that has helped me the couple of times I've tried using it, and it's something I should do more, but I'm still very much working on figuring out what I want. Which, if you don't know what you want, it's hard to figure out goals if they're themes or otherwise. Aha! Okay, we take it. I listen to a lot of folk punk. Pat the Bunny, very good artist. But across a lot of artists, a line that seems to crop up a lot is this concept of like, well, I know I'm supposed to know what I want, but all I know is I know what I don't want. I'm not phrasing it very well. It might just be Pat the Bunny, but I don't know, I think it's a lot easier to know what you're against than what you're for. It's a lot easier to find the things that don't click than the things that do. Working on problem-solving skills will be useful regardless of your goal you choose later on. Absolutely. Because problem-solving is one of those general things. If you can solve problems... Whoop! You can solve problems. Or if you have a system for solving problems, it helps you... That's a system that's in place for pretty much anything that you do going forward. Any problem you tackle. That's like... Oh! That was sick. I'll need to practice that one more. Oh, howdy, Blue Turtle. Thank you for the follow. Yeah, I don't know. It's, there are definitely some general things like that. For me, streaming is trying to build, like, resilience and whatnot. That's part of why I'm playing through some of these games that are more skill-oriented. I'm trying to build adaptability and flexibility. That's why I'm doing this new stream format. That's all. You're trying to pick up things. You're trying to pick up tools that help your toolbox grow. That was not very well phrased. That help your arsenal? No, that's still fairly repetitive. Trying to find tools. Increasing your toolkit so that you've got more things to cope with things that come up. That's actually part of why I studied computer science in college, was because I figured that was, no matter what, you can find a way to integrate computer science into pretty much anything these days. Both my parents studied history because they figured, well, I can't choose one thing to study, so we'll study everything in chronological order. Boop, boop. Ah. Whoop. Whoop. Oh, nice! That's... even... I think history is just also a good thing to study. I wish that more people knew more history, and I will admit, I'm not a particularly well-studied student of history, but I do find that I often know a little bit more than most, and I often find it very helpful. The way I tend to learn is to try and connect things together, and having just little nuggets of history makes everything make a whole lot more sense. Like, why is the world this particular way? Oh, well, it's because these two powers got in a fight a couple hundred years ago. Ah. Like, why are there a bunch of French words in English? Why do we have some very, like, short, simple words that tend to be considered vulgar? And it's typically because, by and large, there was the Norman invasion of England, and the Anglo and Saxon words, the more Germanic ones, became the sort of lower class uncouth words. Oh no! And then the oh, that was bad. And then all of the fancy Norman ones became the nice socially acceptable ones. It's just, I don't know. I like seeing the world as a puzzle that fits together, or not necessarily a puzzle, because I don't think there's anything to necessarily be solved, but seeing how things connect is helpful, I find. Which is also part of why I highly advocate listening to anyone who's interested in what they're talking about talk. Um, I mean, there are definitely some things where it might be an uncomfortable topic or whatnot, and you find your boundaries. But especially when it comes to boring things, I have seen so many people have opportunities to listen to people talk about things that they are interested in that the person considers boring, so they don't listen. I've listened to someone talk about sewer grate design for like 2 hours, and it's fascinating. I don't know how much I've gotten out of it, but it makes me see the systems that are underneath my feet a little bit differently, because I don't think about where the water goes when I flush the toilet or use my sink. But and the sewer grate itself isn't part of that. But I'm a lot more aware of where they are now because I've learned a little bit about how the decisions were made about particular grate patterns. And now that I'm aware of where the sewer grates are in my area, I'm more aware of how the water flows around. I keep over jumping that. It's going to be just a small jump like that. It's basically that jump, but to the left, and a series of them without a backboard. Oof. Womp. Ah. It is. I do find it honestly amazing how much you can learn from just listening to people speak. Certain people. They're listening to me speak, I don't know what you're going to be learning. Probably little weird bits of history and things like metallurgy. Little bits of my personal life philosophy and whatnot. But I don't know. I have learned a lot of very interesting, and even if you don't learn it directly from them, you can go. It helps you find new things to look at. When it comes to history, I mostly enjoy reading about ancient Greeks. They are very interesting. I've not read as much about them as I should. I've gotten very into. I'm very curious about a lot of like Eastern and West Asia, so Middle East, but trying to get into the habit of calling it West Asia because I know there's some history with the term Middle East, but um, mostly just because it didn't come up in school as much, and I think that's kind of a crime. So I very much enjoy learning about things that I hadn't come across. But the Greeks, absolutely a fascinating folk that have had a huge amount of influence on a lot of Western culture. It's very funny to me when we talk about things like Athens being the birthplace of democracy, how different that democracy looked to them than it does to us today. Whoop. Oh god. Whew. Okay, okay. Ugh. Well, we made it kind of far. Whew. I'm gonna. Okay. I'll give it one more shot. I should move on, do other things. It's been a little over 5 hours. When it comes to the Eastern stuff, I've recently read this Book of Five Rings. Yes, by what's his name? Musashi? But yes, oh I read that a while back. I really loved that. Especially the it's the rules for life. Yeah. Um one that always stuck with me was Oh, I forget how it's phrased exactly, but it's the one where it's talking about like being observant without it being something that's obvious that you're observing. Why can I not remember that? It was part of, is it Book of Water? Perceive those things which cannot be seen. Yes. Pay attention even to trifles. Do nothing which is of no use. Yes. And so okay, that was Book of Earth. But yeah, that's it's some very interesting stuff. I remember, oh, there was something that I learned about Musashi a while back that was really interesting that connected to some other stuff. I can't for the life of me remember it. I'm sure I'll wake up in the middle of the night and go, it was that thing. But yeah, that's that is a hugely fascinating piece of work. And that's, I mean, God, the fact that we can read something. I mean, that's I read that online. Wikipedia had a link to it. The fact that I was able to from my phone look up, go read this book that was written 500 years ago, um, and then talk to that it live with someone else who's read that book across the planet. That's so cool. Okay, no, we'll give that we'll give okay. I'm gonna give that whole thing one more try. Salutations, Aya. How goes it? We're kind of trying to do like one last little attempt at those stairs there, so right towards the end, but very glad to see you. You mentioned in Discord that you had a problem. You have a concert today? Right, you do instrument. I was about to say, who are you seeing? Awesome, you're playing stuff. Are you excited for it? Whoop. Aha. Another on Monday and Tuesday. Wow, that is a packed schedule. Are they things you're excited for, or are you a little nervous about them? Or a combination of both? I guess that's not exclusive. Well, both? Alright. Well then, I wish you much luck with them, and I hope that the nerves calm. Wow. There we go. Oh, gotcha. Thank you. Well, I will be looking at that right after stream. Yep. There we go. Okay. Sorry, that was probably really loud. One last attempt up these things. Oh, man. Not fun. Generally a fan of people not yelling very loudly near where I live. Okay. Okay. We will leave it there. Murder of crows, perhaps? Hopefully. I'm more okay with crows yelling a lot. This was the second time, and so we called the cops to move him out again. Oh, that is not fun. We will save and exit. Time, 2 hours and 6 minutes. Damn, not a lot of progress. We'll get to I've seen people do it in like 15 minutes. Yeah, well, I'm sorry about that. That is not a pleasant experience. I hope that the concert goes well. I hope that no one is screaming bloody murder again today. And I hope that, yeah, you have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you to everyone for popping in. This was a blast. We got through a whole bunch. Thank you for sitting through a lot of Magic. We did some good Baba. We did some good Jump King. Having a good time. Hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, and yes, bye!